Hello and welcome to Space Engineers. My name is AetherTech and I'm going to show you a project that I have been working on for more than 10 years now. It started as a line drawing on some paper, then I moved it to Microsoft Paint because I am a terrible artist, and eventually transitioned it to Space Engineers and also 3D printed it. To thank you to some very helpful folks for that, at least. So yeah, this is my magnum opus of my artistic abilities, which are pretty limited, to be honest, but I'm otherwise quite happy with how the project is turning out. So let's turn on the lag, shall we? So this is the Kalon, which is which is spelled Kalon. It's a Greek word for purity of form or something like that. Basically, it's the combination of like form and function into one thing that perfectly exemplifies that, whatever that is. And in this case, the Kalon is a warship, and that's really about it. It's a warship. So its design is atmospheric capable, as much as the game engine will let me at this point, which is why it's so aerodynamic. Otherwise, I probably would have gone with more of a geometric shape, but those are also pretty boring. And I'm just happy with the way this turned out. It's got a very organic, almost sea creature appearance, like a ray or a skate almost. The build is quite massive if we pull up the information. It's 156,500 some blocks. Lots of conveyors, lots of thrusters, lights, spotlights, a gravity well generator, and of course it is nearing the shape limit, so there's really not much more I can do to physically modify the shape before it becomes unusable. And if you didn't know, when you go over the shape limit, things start to, you start falling through things and walking through walls, and in general it just makes it impossible to progress any further on a build. So you have to stay below the physical shape limit, but I think at this point I should be able to do that, since most of what's left is really just the interior painting. I have stuffed in as many features as I really can. There's one more feature I would like to add, which I'll get to later, but overall this is what we're working with. I have gone through and labeled pretty much everything and organized it, so that's mostly easy to find, although after the years and years and years of doing this, I do forget sometimes what I've called things, so hopefully I can show this off without too much trouble. So let's get to it. I did build a space station just to park it in and to give me something to work on while I had creator's block, or writer's block as it were, while working on the Kalon. So the space station is just odd bits of fooling around, messing with designs, just weird stuff. So the Kalon is 120 something meters in length, about 70 meters wide, and about 15.5 meters tall. It has 3 primary engine clusters for going forward, and then is heavily distributed in both hydrogen and ion thrusters in all directions. The internal power systems are also quite well distributed. This does use a lot of mods. When I started the project, the base Space Engineers game did not really have a lot of things. You might notice that I'm not using 2x1 slopes. They didn't exist back then. So most of this is 1x1 slopes. There's a few of the newer blocks here and there, but for the most part, in terms of the actual building of the ship itself, I stuck with the basic blocks as they existed back when I started years ago. And then I found some mods for the weapons and some other things, but well, that's best just to show it. So we're going to start at the top of the ship. Just do a nice slow pan by, at least as controllable as it is. And let's take a look at the underside quickly. It's basically symmetrical, and that's purposefully done because a symmetrical ship is usually going to be the most easy to control, have the best stability, best coverage of weapons, etc. So the only big difference between the dorsal and the ventral, the top and the bottom, is me getting lost in my own ship and looking for a specific feature. I do have a, quote, hangar in the ship, which has a, I think this is the ventral hangar door here, whereas the top of the ship does not have that feature, but it does have a top airlock and then a skylight for the crew rest area, the relaxation, recreational area, and then some more solar panels and a docking collar on the top. But let's jump into the top of the ship. Well, before we do that, I should mention there's a couple of hatches scattered throughout the ship, and these are just... Oops, wrong search field. What did I call them? Oh well, when in doubt, just search for hinges. And these are just maintenance and emergency access hatches, and I'll show them in greater detail when we go down through this other entrance here. So we'll just leave these open. There's two more on the bottom as well. Actually, before we go inside, there is one more feature on the outside to show off. Sometimes the controls in this game don't quite work well. They don't do anything, but I did add some, if I can find where I put them, I did add some little pop-up fins or aliens for, I don't think I said that word right, but atmospheric control surface. There's two here. There's four more at the front of the ship on the mandibles, top and bottom, right there. And then some more in the back along the engine pods, both top and bottom. Unfortunately, I couldn't find a good place to have them come out on the horizontal axis. The ship is just so crammed full of things, and there's no good surfaces that I could use for the hinging mechanism unless I used the armor, break up the armor or something like that along the edges, which would be difficult and kind of look weird. So for now it's just vertical stabilizers. So let's head inside through the top airlock. See if the ladder will work for me today. Yeah, it will. Nope, never mind, it won't. So anyway, now we're inside. Let's turn some lights on. And we'll turn on the non-accent lighting. Ooh, forgot how red that was. So this is the topside airlock. It's got a camera. In fact, every room in the ship has a camera with almost full coverage. Just a little thematical thing. So a couple of lockers and some interior security turrets, plus a button for the lights. Yep, just some red lighting. And then every room pretty much in every hallway has labels in it, so it's still quite easy to get lost for some people, but after so long I can mostly find my way around. So this is level 3, and this door goes into the lounge, airlock, jump drive, and dorsal reactors. And then I've color coded it so that if you're looking at blue and then a door, that's forward, red and then the door is aft, and then green is into a room that doesn't go anywhere else. So level 3 dorsal airlock behind this door. So then to either side here, which is one already open, these are just some backup reactors. And, these are the modded, I think they're XPAR reactors. And of course there's a camera in here, and a light switch and a storage locker. And it's identical on the other side. So left-right symmetry is pretty big on the ship. Behind these two doors we have some jump drives with some energy cells on top. Nothing fancy. Not my best work, but it does work. And then up here we just have a little lounge area. Couple of benches, some cabinets, and then a nice view out of the front of the ship, just high enough to get over the mandibles and have a nice view. It's important on a spaceship like this to have a place for the crew to go and relax, because you're going to be out for weeks, if not months at a time. So you just need something to do, and this is one of the things you can do. A couple more lockers and the light switch. So let's close these all up. Getting some lag spikes. Running at 0.6 or less sim speed usually on this. So we're going down to level 2, which is all the main systems and the main habitation areas. And these iris doors are a very old mod. I don't know if there's a new mods to replace them, and at this point I don't think I would anyway, because that is a lot of work to redo all of that stuff. So this is the forward annex, and this just connects the bridge with the with the port and starboard and aft sections, or I should say routes to those sections. So up front is just the bridge. Little security turret up here, some consoles along the side, and then this is the primary flight seat. Couple weapon racks to the side in case there's somebody that boards the ship and gets to the bridge, and then some miscellaneous LCD displays, nothing fancy. You sit in the control seat, and then one of the things I've always disliked about a lot of sci-fi franchises is how exposed the bridge usually is. So one of my goals for the ship is this. Now, I do not have the cameras linked up to the screens. There is a plugin that I think will do that, but it does a lot of lag. And at the moment, I just haven't gotten around to it since I've only been back playing Space Engineers after a 2-year hiatus for about 2 days now. So that's my little close off the bridge armored shutter thingies and a pop-up screen so the pilot can see where he's going, plus whatever other sensors and scanners he has. So let's move along. We'll go up the spine of the ship first. Oh, well, as long as we're here. We'll pop down into here really quickly. So this is just a little vestibule and then a little forward power room. A couple more reactors from the XPAR pack. Command station for theme. It's just another part of the distributed power systems. Access to storage and some lockers. And we'll use the ladder. Close it up and we'll head up the spine. Well, not the spine. The spine would actually be that one up there. This would be the, well, it's still the middle, so we'll call it that. And these are the officers' quarters. There's 2 senior quarters and then 4 junior quarters, and the 2 seniors are identical and the 4 junior officer quarters are identical. But they're pretty well laid out. Again, the limitation of the mods I had at the time, this is what I ended up with. So you got a desk, some buttons, some storage, the new weapon racks, which I just added after I started playing again a couple days ago, just playing around with what's available. Nice big bed with a with a TV above it, some more lockers, and then the private head, shower, toilet, etc. There's no mirror, but it would probably go on this wall back here. And the other side is identical. I'm gonna, let's see, what's the control for that? There we go, smooth out the mouse a little bit maybe, I don't know. These are the junior officer quarters. So, not as fancy, but I didn't have a desk mod available at the time that fit. Of course, now that we have, why isn't this working? Oh, never mind, not available for small ships anyway. Anyway, they have a little private bathroom as well, same bathroom size actually. It's just what I laid out when I built them. So there's, again, 2 senior officer and 2 junior officer quarters. So moving back, this is the central recreational annex or center area. There's a couple couches here and a quick med station over here. On the port side is the rec rooms, and on the starboard side are the separate messes. One is for the officers and the senior NCOs, the other one is for the enlisted personnel and non-senior NCOs. We'll start in the officers' mess quickly. Again, using old mods, what was available. Little kitchen area where the chef, or I guess the cooks, would work. And a couple tables, some screens, more cameras of course. You can get behind here, play it out. And then we'll move into the junior enlisted listed mess, which is a little bit smaller, very simple. They do their own cooking. There's some storage because I couldn't fit a fridge into this room. And then a couple screens, and of course the omnipresent camera. And there's also the 2 cameras in this room. And there was a camera in here, I believe. Kind of. If you open the door, there's a camera. So on the port side then, we have the rec room, which of course is just arcade machines, a ping pong table, some benches, the pool table, more cameras, and a couple potted plants. I think at one point I had some speaker. Oh, no, I still do. There's the speaker. Pretty basic as far as decorating goes. I'm not that great at decorating. I just put some stuff down and it felt right. Let's control the lights in every room. So there is a skylight, and that does have armored shutters that close, 2 layers of them. And sorry about your ears. Those things are very loud. And then down here is a cool little room. It's just a basic control room. See if we can get around on the side. Nothing fancy, but control room for the little hangar inside, which I've populated with a couple of work bees for the moment. A couple of screens for information, a basic control desk, some storage lockers, and then a ladder to get out. And where's the camera? There's the camera. Hi. Wave to the camera. We'll close that up, and then we'll move back. So this is the cross hall. It connects the port and starboard sides of the ship from the aft. The first room in the back is just a backup cockpit, or backup control chair, not really a cockpit. It has a single light, which I put a button up for. A little overkill, but whatever. And then down here is a very, very cramped cryo room chamber, cryo chamber room, something. How many do we have in here? 7? 7 cryopods in this room. So for if somebody gets critically injured or somebody gets sick, you can toss them into the cryo chamber for the rest of the trip until you get to some place where they can be treated properly. Or do rotating shifts of people cryo sleep and while the other people crew the ship. I've been trying to find another spot to stuff in some more cryo chambers, so that'll be the future project. So let's see, the front of the ship is this way, so we'll head off to the port first. There's a little armory room on this one here, as well as mirrored over on the other side. And then the next room is the ship security and tactical, guarded by another turret, camera over there, a display, and then the tactical officer's little workstation with a display of all the weapons and their status of ammunition, which is all empty at the moment. And then it also links to the 2 brigs, which we'll get to a little bit later. And then the connectors and some other stuff. And then just like a little server room using the jump drives as server stand-ins. Some more XPAR fuel cells and a storage link up. On the starboard side is the engineering control room. And of course the other little armory station. So another display system, some desks for the engineers with some various displays. I remember these took quite a bit of time to get working. I'm not very good at the whole coding thing, so once I got these working I was pretty happy. And then just another one of those quote server rooms. And of course it's all individually light controlled. Alright, so now we're going to head back to the front of the ship and take a tour from the front to the back along either port or starboard. Figure it out when we get there. Close these doors along the way. This feels like 30 FPS right now. Alright, so we're back at the bridge. And then the entrance, or I should say the ascent entrance, I don't even know if that's the right terminology, whatever, to the dorsal little walkway up there. And we'll just head off to the starboard side. So this is the Starboard Annex. The first room around the corner is just another little armory station. On the starboard side is the med bay with another cryo chamber and some miscellaneous greebly stuff to make it look like a med bay. This door goes into what are these called? The heads, and I put some ladders up like they're grab bars. So we'll get to the heads in a second once we go around. On the other side, the port side, the tactical meeting room, briefing room, takes the place of the med bay on that side. This door down here leads to the hangar, so we'll go down there last probably. And just for reference, this goes back to the central annex and the bridge is right there. So we'll head back around this side. And the first room we go to is the turret control room. This is for the big turrets on the outside, or really any turrets that you want to control. There's just 4 stations in here. And then also the little brig section using glass doors, which really don't have a visible notifier anymore. There we go. So this is the starboard brig. It's a bed and a toilet, and that's about it. Yeah, you don't want to be in here. It's boring and it's uncomfortable. I just didn't have another place to stick it, so it got stuck in with the rest of this stuff. So we'll head back this way. These are just maintenance access hatches, and we will actually go up to this one quickly. And you'll see what I was talking about earlier with those exterior hatches. So this little airlock area just lets you access the interior of the ship for repairs and maintenance. And if we go forward, more of the same. Just some more maintenance access stuff. And then up here is a little cargo room or utility room, whatever you want to make out of it. And then that external access hatch right there, which closes up nicely and has ladders for easy traversing. This is still one of my favorite mods, the ladder. The extending ladder is just so cool and so simple. And then the bottom door here just goes into the ventral space, ventral maintenance space. Not much I can do down here, so it's just the ship in all of the very, very, very bad layout I did. Alright, close that up. And then we need to go this way. So there's the crew quarters are on this side, but we will start with the heads up front. So there's showers on this side, and this goes back into the med bay. And then toilets on this side. And then here are the crew quarters. Now, unfortunately, when I was painting the outside of the ship, I did not realize that I was also painting the inside of the crew quarters. So there's a lot of chaos going on. So these are the junior enlisted crew quarters. 4 beds, storage, personal storage, big screen. That's basically about it. There'd probably be some sort of sound dampening curtain that they could draw across. Sound dampening, light dampening curtain, something. That block is out of place. Let's fix that quickly while I'm here. There we go. Perfect. So, if I had the time and the patience, I'd probably redo these rooms. So not only could I paint it properly, but it'd be more efficient use of space. And there's 4 of these in total on each side. As you can see, this one accidentally pressed shift when I was painting something blue, and it got very blue in here. But it's otherwise the same. And then also the same. And the last one on the side. This one's at least gray for the most part. And then in the aft section, there's just a little office space for the master sergeants or other senior NCOs to use. Alright, moving back, we will just use the same door we came in. A little med station here. This is just another door into this area. They're separated, so it's all technically not airtight because I don't have airtightness enabled, but that's the purpose. It's just a lot of compartmentalization in this ship. So we'll close that up. And then this is just the hallway that goes across to the other side again. And we'll head through here next, and this is the aft portion of the ship. This goes down to the hangar and some other stuff, and there's another block that's out of place. What happened here? I do not know. So this is one of the areas where I redid it after coming back and used the, that's the wrong one, isn't it? Yes, it is. Where I used the newer blocks. So the first thing back here with an industrial door, because I like the way it looks. This is just a little manufacturing thing with the storage. All the storage, all the weapons, anything that has a connector is hooked up to the central conveyor system. So all of this is hooked up somewhere to this, I think. Honestly, I'm not even sure. I'll have to check that later. And then, am I going the right way? Yes, I am. And then this is the inside of one of the engine pods. This was actually one of the first things that I think I worked on when I started doing the interior of the ship. I was trying to try to set the whole theme of the ship based off the interior of the engine pods. I'm not sure if I succeeded in that, but I do like the way this kind of looks. Just a long row of hydrogen thrusters. And this goes all the way back to a little airlock, and then to the actual engine chamber, which is behind all of this mess. And of course, there's also some access down into the lower levels for maintenance, if you can squeeze through there. And some gyros. And then there's also a door on this side as well. And then if we go up, it's just more of the same sort of mess. So we'll just head back down quickly, back the way we came. And we finally get to the bottom of the ship. Alright, so this is the bottom of the ship, the ventral level, so technically level 0. More storage. Another power reactor room. A little work desk, and then the hangar bay itself. So I just created these little worker bees earlier today just to put something in here to see if I could fly through the hangar doors that I put in also recently thanks to hinges, which are really cool. So I've got a projector playing the force field, and then the hangar doors. Oops, clicked it twice. I might be sitting a little bit too low to the station. These probably are going to hit the floor. But they just open the basic 90 degrees. If I had been smart, I should have put the hinges facing down instead of facing out, and they'd open farther. But they open far enough I can fly one of these things in pretty easily. Oh, it looks like I'm just high enough off the floor of the station. So yeah, come on down. That's the hangar. So I could fit, currently I have 4 in here, but I think I could fit 1, 2, push these forward, 3, 4, 5, 6, or maybe just 5, and then either 7 and 8 or 6 and 7. And that should probably show the ramp that goes up to the annex area. Like that. And we'll close this up because I just like the way it looks when it's closed up. I added some ladders in it so the crew can climb down when they want to. This does have landing gear. They're kind of a mess. They do work. There's a couple in the front, a couple in the back, a couple in the middle. a ship this large gets really picky with how its landing gear sync up. Maybe that's not the right word, but it used to work a lot better, but it's been very finicky since the last couple days when I picked this project back up. So behind this door and also on that side, just another little micro manufacturing area, little backup to the backups. Turn on the force field again. Oh. So when the force field is on, there's a little green arrow. When the force field is off, it's just a red. And these lights are supposed to be on, but the circuit seems to have messed up. They're not supposed to be blinking on and off when the force field is on. And then there's a couple little self-defense turrets, and then the hangar control, some more cameras. Now that I have hinges, I'm probably going to put even more cameras in, or at least change around the ones that are in here, in the ship itself. This is just a little screen showing the color coding for the floor. The blue, red, green, and of course the yellow that I didn't mention earlier. And at the front of the hangar bay, another med station, some lockers, some guns, and then some little storage areas that also let the crew access this lower level area for maintenance. So that's pretty much the ship. I don't think I'm forgetting any major features, and I think we've gone through every single room. It's definitely was an interesting project, and I'm still working on it. There are a lot of things I wish I had done differently, but I am honestly too lazy to go back and change. It's a lot of work, to be honest, to change some of the little things in here I want to change. Mostly because of this thing here. There's just a lot of stuff. Oh yes, I am using modded gyroscopes, 25 power, and as you can see, there are a lot of those. I also have a mod for the ion and the hydrogen thrusters. I think it's 10 times more powerful, or maybe 25 more powerful. I can't really remember, but there's quite a few of everything. So yeah, it's a long list of parts. And to make it somewhat manageable, it's all condensed into the basic things. So the all thrusters, all power, all lights, all doors, accent lights under cannons, Gatlings on the nacelles, cargo, doors, basic, compact, etc. Cryo rooms, beds even. Everything has its place. Except for these two. Oh, these two got unadded somehow. Have to go back and fix those later though. So, yeah, that's it. Hope you've enjoyed the Kalon. If you have any questions, leave a comment. If not, well, I don't have much more. Just me and my ship. And my 0.6 sim speed when it's not in motion.